This is day 3 of the Power Word Challenge.
We'll pop into our kitchen.
Yeah. Awesome. I see a couple people rolling in. Hopefully you've had a fantastic week.
I had a really great, good. Taylor said we're good to go on Facebook. So I had a really neat experience this morning where I've been talking about how I did an in-person retreat on Saturday so not even a week ago. And I worked with 10 ladies. And so if you go into the Facebook group, I think that I shared it in there. It's certainly on my own personal page, but she sent me a message with her card. She actually decorated front and back, and her word is authentic. And she said that it's incredible because it's already showing up, and she's so excited. I mean, it hasn't even been a week yet. And you can just feel the energy coming off of her post that she put. And it was so sweet that she put that on there. So thanks, Vicki, for that shout out. I so appreciate that. And what's really cool is that and then now she's invited a whole group to do a full vision board. So you and I will talk a little bit more about that opportunity for people on this call as well, to be able to do a vision board as part of our upcoming Burnout to Balance program. But yeah, so she's really excited to take that next step.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah, I can't wait to hear people's words today. Like you said, it's always nice to hear it and then see how it's resonating and standing out for people.
Absolutely. Hi, Brenda.
Maybe Brenda's not able to answer just now. She's tuning in, but not talking.
I do know there's some people that have been catching the replay, so that is awesome. If you're catching the replay, again, thanks for being here with us for the last 2 days already, and now we're into the 3rd, and there is more to come. So we would love for you to jump in live if you're, catching this. Jump in live because there is going to be an amazing prize at the end. So its value is close to $500 Canadian. And it's going to be amazing. So you'll want to stick around for that. So maybe we'll just get started, Justine, and see who pops in.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, part of this is to just celebrate the fact that it is day 3. And so if you're tuning in on the replay, or if you're going to be jumping in here with us live, it's a big celebration for really having made a commitment and seeing it through to day 3. I know Carrie even mentioned that yesterday as she was talking about the different commitments that she was really set on keeping them. And I'm thrilled that you've done that. Hi, Brenda. I see that you're on now.
Hi. I made it.
Yeah, awesome. Did you get a chance to catch the replay yesterday? We missed you.
Yes, yesterday was a very busy day for me. So I caught the first half of it, and then I had plans. So then I caught the last little bit of it this morning. And I was just kind of, it was a bit of a packed day. So I'm still soaking in and digesting all the information from yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to take in, and my mind is going like 1,000 miles an hour. So
that makes sense.
But it was good.
It is a lot to take in when you're
watch it again. Sorry.
Oh, just that it's a lot to take in, especially in the mix of spinning a lot of different plates all at the same time, as Debbie said earlier. Yeah. I'm curious what came up for you. Maybe have you picked a word already, or are you kind of ruminating on a word after going through day 2?
So day 2 is really helpful for me to find my word. And because of where I am in life right now, I think the example that my sister gave yesterday with one of a past client, or about finding herself and her word being me. And I think I'm like, that knocked me over. I'm like, that's my word. It's me, because I need to find who I am right now in my life. And sorry if I get emotional,
I welcome all your emotions.
Because I've just been feeling anxious about that, and going through menopause, all the things of where I am in life now. I need to find me. So that's where I'm at. So that's my word, me.
Oh, I love it. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. So all the things that encompassing finding, like, because I'm adopted, same as my sister. Finding, more family history, biological history, all those kind of things, and traveling and reconnecting with, not reconnecting, but like finding how me and my spouse fit together again, with having like almost an empty nest, and, moving forward together in life, and focusing on us again rather than our children and their needs. So kind of just, about me. Sorry for rambling.
It's not rambling at all. And what I was actually going to say was, it's amazing how many layers we pull into one word. And Debbie's even going to talk about that later today when we talk about the different life areas. All of these things, all the different parts of our life are all in one when we have ourselves, me as your word, right? Yeah. All of these things are layered in, and there are so many different pieces that can be touched with one word, and what it means to us, how we want to create with it, and what that can look and feel like. And I also love that you said, I might be emotional, and like, honestly, wonderful. Yeah. That means you've chosen the right word, because we wanted to evoke a feeling in you that is both comforting as well as inspiring and encouraging you. So awesome. I'm thrilled.
Yeah. Great. I'm excited.
Awesome. So I know Taylor's got the handout for today loaded into the Facebook group, and maybe she can even pop it into the chat here, but we are going to be kind of jumping in.
Did you see there's someone, I think her name is Susie, in the Facebook. And so if you look at the chat, Justine,
I have not
she's
looked.
got 3 words.
Oh, okay. Fantastic. Share with me. What are the words?
So her words are acceptance and happiness and energized.
Acceptance, happiness, and energized.
So Susie, I love that you love an abundance of words. What my challenge would be to you is to basically even think about them like as though they were like, playing cards, right? So if you had them, say, written down on 3 different cards, the 3 words, and they were fanned out, and you could only choose one, right? You had to leave the other 2 behind. Which is the one that you couldn't be without? That you're like, oh, I can't leave that one behind. I have to choose that one. So I really would love for you just to narrow it down. Is it acceptance? Is it happiness? Is it energized? And perhaps you can even see how maybe one of those words fits into the other, like a pocket, right? So maybe if you're choosing happiness, you're feeling, well, then I would be energized. Or perhaps acceptance means that I would be happy if again, I felt accepted in all areas of my life. I'm accepting myself, I'm accepting whatever that word means to you. So just check and see if any of those would sort of fit and be enveloped into others, so that you can just have one single word, because there is a lot of power, again, of having that focus and keeping it really simple, because our minds like to have things simple, even though we like to have complex conversations. When it really comes to remembering things, that's why people do 5 steps to whatever, or they use acronyms, or, even some of the most complex things in the world are boiled down to very simple words, right? And so you want to really have that for yourself, where it really stands out and shines for you. So I would encourage you, Susie, if you can, even before the end of today, challenge you to narrow that down to one.
One thing I've used in other years that helped me to narrow it down was the way that I wanted to use the word. And it was using specifically that formula that Debbie referenced yesterday, that E plus R equals O. And one of the things that I would actively do is like and she talked about the R is the response that we have, the responsibility piece, as well as our response. And I often will go, okay, so if something happens and I respond from a place of whatever my word is, whatever that means to me, whatever that evokes in me, then what happens? Then who am I, or what do I do? So if I respond from a place of believing or having acceptance, then my outcome is this. Or if I respond from a place of happiness, then my outcome, or the other one is energized, same. So whatever that might be a helpful way to help you narrow in on how is this going to show up for me. It's like, if my word is just as much part of my response, how does that live with me every day as I go through the rest of this year and the next few months? Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. I mean, you could do that with Brenda's word as well. Thinking about, the situation is like, is the me that showing up in this situation, the Definitely. Me that I love, the me that I want to show up in this situation. Is she here? And what would she do? So
that's right. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Susie. I don't know, Debbie, if you're seeing any response from her, but I'd love to just be able to jump into what we have for today, which, as we said already, it's day 3. And so today is really all about, after ruminating, to really declare, and you're going to walk us through that.
For sure. So let's start with thinking about it, like bridging what Justine was just talking about, using it in a very practical way. So it's one thing to have this conceptual vision, idea, word, and, literally put it on a shelf and not look at it. But what I would challenge you to do, so if you've got your notebook out and your workbook, you should have these areas already in it for you. But if you're just taking notes here on the replay, there are 7 areas. And these are areas that I guide my clients through to keep them focused as they're developing their bigger vision board. But what we know, and what Justine and I both support our clients to do, is to recognize that how we do something somewhere is how we do it everywhere. And also the belief that we can have it all. And I know this for me as, what Brenda was talking about earlier in terms of relationships, or in terms of my children, my marriage, and then my business. I think there is this misnomer that if I focus on one area, like my relationships, then my business is going to suffer. And if I focus on my business, then my relationships might suffer. And so knowing that I can actually have it all, and that it ebbs and flows. And so thinking about what Justine and I, our program calling balance, it's a bit inconsistent, because actually there is no true balance. I mean, life is never completely planed out, right? Balanced. It's always sort of going like this, finding that balance, but it sort of tips back and forth as you're discovering, okay, so this requires more of my attention. This requires more of my attention. So the first area would be professional and career. So thinking about your word that you chose, and how will it support you with showing up the best version of yourself in terms of your professional and career. But that could also be, now I know Brenda's looking at retirement, that could be, where do I want to give back? So perhaps it's volunteering. Is it with seniors, with children, with your church, with the environment? The next area is your personal, about your person, but also about your health, meaning your mental health, your physical health, your self-care. So how can that word impact you, support you with your vision for what you want with your personal health and self-awareness? So what you're doing today, like right now, in this very moment, is you're becoming more aware of yourself. The next is leisure. And that would encompass, it could be a staycation. We all did that during COVID, but it could also mean travel now that we're able to get on an airplane. But what is your leisure? Perhaps it's, taking walks along the river, or it's sitting in a chair in your backyard, or again, maybe it is actually traveling abroad. So thinking about your word and how that will connect to your leisure vision. The next is education, and not in the academic sense, but more about what have you always wanted to learn about. So as a kid, maybe you always had aspirations to learn to play the guitar, or maybe you were really curious. My son actually, I think he was really inspired by the exchange students that came to his high school. And so he wanted to, I don't think I've ever said this before, but he actually wanted to know what they were talking about, because like they'd all be talking Chinese. And so he was like, I think I want to know what they're saying. And so he wanted to learn the Chinese. I said, wow, that's a really big goal there, buddy. But he started to teach himself, and there's ways you can do that on YouTube. And so what is it that you've always wanted to learn about? Financial and contributions. So in terms of your finances, I think it might have been Susie yesterday or even this morning, I noticed in the comments, was like financial stability. I think it was Vivienne was talking about financial freedom yesterday. So what is it that your vision is, and to support you with your word for that vision of your money and using the money, which is really just that transfer of energy, but also perhaps it's about giving it away. So we're, again, philanthropy kinds of things. The next one is family and relationships. So using your word to ground you, to support you for the most optimal, beautiful relationships that you can have in your life, whether it be in, intimacy with your partner, whether it be with your children, extended family, friends. And the last is spiritual. And so thinking about yourself and your word and how that connects with the higher version, like the higher being, in terms of, again, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to speak about God, and that what does that look like in terms of my vision with my connection to God? So how are these actually accomplished? So we can think about it. Again, this is fairly conceptual with having these various areas, talking about the word, but really it comes down to the daily habits. And Justine's been talking for the last 2 days about boundaries and, the commitments that you make to yourself. And you made a commitment on the first day. I will. You went, looked at what your emotions were, and then you connected those emotions to a commitment to the reason you came here in the first place. And so it's about those small little commitments, the things that you must do or you will wither, So it's like, what are your non-negotiables? What are things that you have to do every day? Now, for me, I have to eat healthy. I do sometimes eat a later breakfast, but I need to eat healthy food throughout the day. I need to get enough sleep. And I know Brendan and I have talked about this with menopause, and that it can be a challenge with sleep, but sleep is really a big part of my health, and that I'm making that a commitment. Exercise. So moving my body every day, showing love to those that I love, and expressing that. So all of those things are really important. Those are non-negotiables. And I love this phrase that big doors swing on little hinges. And what I take from that is that the little hinges are the small habits. So sometimes we think, okay, my life is just going to radically change. And one day, someday, I'm just going to be this higher version of myself. I'm going to be, really have this self-awareness, and I'm going to be fully expressed and be able to live out this beautiful life that I have dreamed about. Well, that is true, but it is a slow progression. In some cases, it's more quickly, but it's really based on the habits, which are the actions that you take every day towards that vision. And one of the actions you can do is having your card visible, focusing on your power word card. And perhaps you want to affirm using your declaration that you started day one with. So I will. So what do you commit to? And maybe now that you've gone into day 3 with this more powerful, like this powerful word, you want to infuse that into your affirmation. So committing to yourself, having these daily habits, and remembering what Justine mentioned at the beginning, that E plus R equals O, and that R is our response, which is our responsibility, which is those small habits that we get to do every day. So that is really the meat and potatoes from today around what we wanted to give to you as value to how to use your card and how to use your word. And yeah, so now I want to turn it over to Justine. Wait. What are you?
Well, before we go too much farther, honestly, even Debbie, as you were sharing, I was literally writing down notes and quotes of what you were saying. And I'd love to just take a minute to gather from Brenda and maybe Susie in the chat. What comes up for you when you think of, and I think it's so powerful what you said, that the things you do or you will wither. That's just really landing for me today. I'm like, oh my gosh, wither is such a visceral word that I know I can resonate with, like the things that I know will feed me and give me what I need to move on. What are they? And I know when I haven't had enough of them because I begin to wither and suffer. I don't have that fullness and feeling of life that I love, that makes me feel full aliveness. And I'm curious to Brenda, if you'd be open to sharing. I know for me, I'll start by sharing a thing that I know that I need or I will wither is deep and meaningful conversations that are below, like deeper than surface level, to be heard and understood and to learn something new that lights me up. Those are the things that I need or I will wither. And I know that I've experienced those things in my life when I get overwhelmed, when I feel like I'm not getting enough, when I feel like, oh, there's something missing and I'm getting into a bit of a languishing sort of melancholic feeling. It's like, oh, I haven't had that feeling in a while. Then I know I need to go back to that place. What comes up for you, Brenda, about the things that you need, whether they're non-negotiables or things that give you life and full aliveness that you want to kind of set out for yourself?
I think what you said about having deep conversations, like with somebody that you can trust and feel safe with, are really helpful for me. Yeah, just being around family fills my cup. I don't know, it's hard to think right on the spot.
Yeah, no pressure.
But actually, like learning something new too, and like stoking my creativity, like trying to be creative. I think if that got snuffed for me, like I want to stoke that fire more, because that's what makes me feel full, and like that's me. I need to focus on being creative and being fed by my family, I guess. That's weird to say, but yeah, that would be it for me, I guess.
Yeah, it's like that feeling of full alive, of
yes.
flying, or sometimes yes. I'll refer to that as the feeling of flying. If flying had a job or an action, it would be that.
And I know if I don't do that, like if I'm feeling anxious or depressed, and I can very quickly just resort into myself and like navel gaze, as they call it, just instead of looking outwards, I'm just looking in, and that's when I'm withering. So when I look outward and look to have that conversation or be creative, that's when I feel alive. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I guess part of like tying all this together with some of the theme of the rest of the week around boundaries and burnout and balance and all these other B words, I can't help but think, this is where boundaries come into play, because what we're talking about here is it's a deeper level of self-care and self-acceptance, and we really do need to protect it. And a healthy boundary keeps that in our awareness of like, I need this. So like we can call it a non-negotiable, but then we still don't really protect it with the right boundary because we find ourselves overruling and giving of that and going, oh, well, I don't really need that. And I can skip over that for today. And, you know, I'll get to that when I, whatever. And we don't. And so I can't help but think about, let's tie this back into that boundaries conversation around what feels healthy to you and to you, Susie and Carrie, who are tuning in, and anybody on the replay. Like, let's think about what feels like a healthy boundary to set around this for the purpose of full aliveness, for the purpose of feeding ourselves, to be connected to that power word, to be connected to what it is we do want to create. We do actually have to have action. And sometimes action is saying no to something else. Mm-hmm. So are there competing commitments? Is there anything that comes up for you as you're thinking about other things that often come up in the way of these non-negotiables or these things that I do for myself or I will wither? What is often something you find yourself doing instead?
I think about your word, your power word, bloom.
Mm-hmm.
And so bloom is like thriving and standing tall like a poppy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when, you know, the head droops, right? It's withering in the sun.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what does it need in order to bloom? So
right.
Yeah, it's funny that you've taken that.
Okay, let's use more of that analogy then. What does it need to stand tall? Usually it needs a cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we think about poppies or roses that get really tall like that, they actually need a physical cage to hold them up. And in some ways, that's kind of metaphorically these non-negotiables and these boundaries that we're talking about. It doesn't just happen. It's an actual action that we need to support our growth with.
Right.
That is very deliberate. So I love that, Debbie. Thank you for that. What's your cage around your rose bush, right around your poppy plant? How do you want to protect and support the growth that you are fostering here? What does that look like?
And then to take that further, I love the idea of scaffolding. I've always loved the idea of scaffolding, which means that as you become more aware, then you can add additional layers to that support system that you've created for yourself, right? So, because you don't need it super tall because it's just
That's
growing right. So as you develop and as you become taller and discover more of that self-awareness and who you are, then you're going to build those supports. And I also think about the cage being like people, right? So all the resources that you can bring into to support you, to scaffold you, to hold your head up high so that you may thrive and bloom.
That's
so
right.
gorgeous.
Yeah. For me, I would say people are definitely part of what's needed for me, especially if, as we said, Brenda, you know, and for me as well, like if deep and meaningful conversations is what supports you and supports your growth, we need to invest in those relationships, and that might take time and energy and all of that. Yeah.
And it also means that those going back to boundaries, I was talking to a client last week and she's like, really, do I have to get rid of these people in my life? And I said, well, again, notice your vibration, notice how you feel when they're with you, when they're not with you, notice the difference. And by allowing them inside that cage, inside that scaffolding, you know, they're like planting weeds. They're like sabotaging your growth. And so that's a really big piece.
I saw a quote that goes right into that, Debbie. I can't help it. It stuck out with me. This week, I saw this quote that said, you can't change the people in your life, but you can change the people in your life. And I was like, oh, that's so true, right? Like, I can't make you do anything, but I can also protect myself and limit my exposure to you. Right. And that's how I can create change that is best and healthy for me, if that's what I need to do. Yeah.
And it's hard. This isn't like easy work doing the self-discovery, but the rewards on the other side are so extraordinary and freeing. So we were talking about freedom this week. And I think there's such, and like Brenda, your word me is that when you're able to set those boundaries and invite people into that small, and a cage is a small circle. It's not a great big wide, open wild flower field. No, it's just especially just for you. So that means that it's going to be small, but that pruning process, to use the gardening analogy some more, is really can be painful. And I would say do it one at a time. And one step at a time. So small hinges, swing those big doors. One of the other things I want you to consider is, I heard this actually at our ladies event that I host monthly. And she's a coach, and she said, put yourself on the list. So, we all have to-do lists as women. And are you even on your list? I'm not even talking about the top of the list. Just put yourself on the list.
On it somewhere.
Do. Right? Do me. That I get to do me. And maybe that is engaging in meaningful conversations. Maybe that is, as I was listening to you speak, I think one of the things that I need to do, or I wither, but I often put it at the bottom of the list, is play and be playful. Yesterday, I went and saw the movie Grease with some of my girlfriends, and they're like, do you want to dress up? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I have time. I don't have a costume. And I was like, just put a bow in your hair and call it a day. Like I just, and so I did it. And I was walking downtown looking like a little dork, but it was I was laughing at myself. It was so fun. And my vibration was high, and I get to play more and put myself on the list. So I want to challenge everyone to do that. So let's move into what we've got coming up next, Justine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess this is just a taster of the possibility that we can create in a fuller program. So what we've done over the last 3 days is amazing. And you've had the chance to create a power word, discuss and really feel through non-negotiables, balance, burnout, and everywhere in between. And I think from our perspective, what we love best is working with people in a more intimate way, as you've seen us do a taste of this week. And so we do have a program that we're excited to share called Burnout to Balance. And I'm just curious, if people are having this question of like, okay, now I have my power word, and what do I do with it? And how do I actually take action and do something different with this? So our solution to that is what we offer in a group coaching program. And it is an 8-week group coaching program that is designed exactly for what you might be feeling right now in terms of, what do I actually do with this? What are my next steps? What does action look like? And so it includes a vision board experience with Debbie. It includes self-awareness, coaching, and support about who you are and what you want to create in terms of coaching, and some of the support that I offer as well. And so it's really, like I said, an 8-week group coaching experience where you get to not only get experience and coaching specific to you, but also experience coaching on a wider scale. There's nothing like experiencing a community where you're getting coaching together. You can learn for yourself, but you can also learn from experiencing and holding space for others to be coached as well. So the Burnout to Balance program is something that we have done before with much success. And it was right on the heels of a Move Forward program. And one of the things that we learned from doing our co-coaching in a Move Forward way was that lots of people are ready to move forward, but what they're moving forward from is a little bit of burnout and overwhelm. And so it takes a little bit to move forward. We almost need to pause and get a good vision of who we are and what we want. And then we can create how to actually move into balance. And that's why we've kind of curated this 8-week program to be exactly that. Yeah. I see that Debbie shared the slides. Keep going, Debbie.
Okay. So next, you're going to hear from one of our most recent clients. Her name is Susan. and I'll let her share it in her words. Hopefully this works. I'll just be catching up here.
Oh, maybe it needs to do a refresh.
Well.
Oh, Taylor's just posted the link, so maybe just pull that up, Debbie, instead.
Okay, let me do that. So will I need to stop sharing?
Probably stop share, open that YouTube link, and then load that up full screen. Thanks, Taylor.
Okay, I think I've got this.
Getting there.
Boy.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah. It worked when in practice. I am so sorry. Okay, here we go.
All right, all set.
You see it?
Yeah, do you want to full screen it?
The three pieces we've really worked on, the Enneagram, the conscious intelligence, and my vision board, all three pieces have worked together so uniquely to help me understand how my burnout was taking me off balance, and that it was necessary to have all three pieces for me to take apart what was breaking me down and help build me back up together. And that the unique combination of the skills that Justine and Debbie have was amazing in teaching me what was breaking me down in my burnout, how I was off balance, how I was emotionally not in tune with myself, and that by learning how my personality style, how my mental health, and how my not understanding how my goals and dreams were off kilter, really were keeping me from both growing as a person and growing as a business, were not working for me. And that slowly over the course of the weeks we worked together, looking at how the conscious intelligence skills, the understanding my personality through the Enneagram, and then developing my vision board and declaring my dreams and how I was going to reach them, all work together in this unique way to bring me to a place today where I feel that I'm out of burnout and I'm ready to go back to my life in a really healthy and balanced way. So I really think the three separate pieces in this program work together in this unique and amazing way. And these two incredibly talented women made it happen in a way I'll forever be grateful for.
Okay, that's from Susan. So amazing. And then I will still pull this slide back up so that we can share the investment. So the program, as Susan said, is 8 weeks, and there's three, like a braid, right? There's three components to it. Justine is that expert with the Enneagram, also with the conscious leadership, and then the visioning piece. And as Justine explained, it's so beautiful when you have an understanding of who you are. And we do some of that work of where that may have come from, and just recognizing, acknowledging the burnout, and then moving yourself forward into this beautiful life. And so, as Susan said it so eloquently, so the investment is $24.97 USD, but there is a promo code. So there's $500 off, and that is available for the next 48 hours. And here's what we also know is that to move you from burnout to balance, it takes decision makers. So that first, we talked about what is it that is going to take you to that next level, that higher self, using your power word. It's about being able to make decisions, putting yourself on the list, putting yourself at the top of the list. And so the promo code is power word, which is all in caps. And Justine or Taylor is going to drop the link for the registration in the chat as well. If you're watching the replay, it'll be in the Facebook group. But this promo code will be just until September the 18th. So for the next 48 hours, you can get the $500 off simply for participating in this challenge. Mm-hmm. So what's next is I just want to give you a little bit more information. So hi, Suzanne, I see that you've popped in here. In that, with your power word, so not to worry, if you haven't created your power word, please just make a commitment that you do by the end of this week, so that you simply have your card with your word, and that if you want to embellish it with images like I did, and that you've actually fulfilled that commitment that you made to yourself. So where to display it? Well, you can see I've got mine really handy right here, but that's because I do talk about it a lot. I would say maybe on your fridge, on your refrigerator. So it's something that you see all the time in the kitchen. You can duplicate it. Why not take a photo of it and make it as your screensaver? That's a really great place as well, that you're going to see it all the time. Maybe you want to print it off and just frame it so that you've got it at your workplace as well as home. So maybe you want to just take the word and put it as a sticky note on your bathroom mirror. It's just that the more often you're able to affirm it, then if you think about the power of autosuggestion, like advertisers know all about this, right? So they're dropping in words. There's a reason why there's ads that play continuously, because it actually becomes a recording in our brain. Well, we get to actually take that tape. I don't know if you are like me, I'm born in the 60s or whatever, you went through the 80s and you know about the cassette tapes, right? It's like a cassette tape that's running. Well, we get to take that cassette tape out and put a new one in. And the way we do that is through auto-suggestion, which means that we get to create the new tape, the new thing that's running, which is what actually is your power word. Like for Brenda, it's me, focusing on me. I am focusing on me, whatever that affirmation is. I'm about my authentic self. Suzanne said about happiness, right? So I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm living my happiest life. And that I'm finding happiness in all areas of my life, whatever that might be for you, but that you're changing the script. So, excuse me. So declare it. And by doing so, you're taking that R out of that equation, and you're really moving forward. And so please tag us in your post. So when you do complete your card, drop it here in the Facebook group and tag us. And we would love to support you, because when we do that, for one, you're sending a message to the universe, like, I'm ready. Let's go. Mm-hmm. This is the new me. I'm putting myself on the list. I'm making myself a priority. I've just put those boundaries around my flower, and I am ready to thrive. I'm ready to bloom. And so we're just really excited, and we want to support you so that together, again, we rise. So yeah, who's into this amazing program? We already have one participant. She already signed up a month ago. She found it through my website, which was super cool. So we're really excited to create this new community of this next program and support people to move from burnout to balance.
I'm excited about it too, obviously. And one of the things I want to invite you to is have conversations with us. There's been a lot of conversation, coaching, and things going on even this last week. And so we can take some time even now to answer any questions or thoughts that you might be having around, what do I do about this? Or thoughts that I have about that. But if you are interested in actually diving in with a little more depth, both Debbie and I are open and happy to have calls with you specifically to talk about what you've taken away from this week, how to apply it, and also what that can look like for you within this 8-week coaching program and how that can really move you into that different realm. So don't hesitate to take us up on it. It's literally a free coaching call. Those don't come around too often, and we are genuine about offering that time and space for you for your journey. So you'll be getting links, and I know Taylor's going to be in touch with people. So let us connect more with you. We'd like to have more conversations. I can see Taylor's just posting it there for you now. So feel free to take us up on that. And even if we can find the time to have it be Debbie and I both on the same call, that would be even more amazing. So it's really for us about meeting you where you're at, coaching you with what is here. And we believe that the Burnout to Balance program is really supportive in being the most effective next step for what we've heard for clients that are going, okay, now what? I need to build vision. I need to figure out who I am. I need to figure out what I want. And then I need to actually put it into action and need support and community in doing so. Yeah. And that's what we love to do. So we invite you into that place.
Yeah, for sure. So should we do the prize?
Yes, let's do it. We have the final grand prize giveaway, and Taylor's going to pop on to do that. And I'm excited because this is one of Debbie's biggest offerings, and she's very generously offered to give it. So Debbie, tell us what it is.
So it is the full vision board workshop. However, it is online, so you can do it at your own pace, your own time. And it's a do-it-yourself. However, it was professionally shot in my studio. So it's 8 chapters, 30 lessons, and there's 5 extraordinary women that are there that participated in the workshop as it was being videotaped. So you're going to feel like you're right along with them in the conversations, and it'll just guide you every step of the way how to create a Dare to Declare vision board. And it's evergreen. So if you decide that you want to do it again next year, and certainly bring along a couple of friends, like make it either a fun day, like Saturday, or break it up over a couple of nights and do it together with some girlfriends.
Awesome. Taylor,
great.
Take us away.
Let me get this going 1 second. I will share my screen.
And if you go to my website, it is valued at $497 USD. So yeah, it's a great prize.
Very good.
All right. So we had some past winners already in the chat, and a couple had to pop off. So Brenda and Susie, I will spin the wheel.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
The odds are in your favor.
Susie. Woo!
Susie, awesome. So I know you're here in the chat, so I'll make sure we were DMing too. I'll send you a message, Susie, and we'll sort out getting that course to you. Congratulations.
Okay. Awesome.
Fabulous. So I'm going to take off this view so that we can just see each other. So this concludes our challenge. But it's not over. It's really like still ongoing, that we want you to drop your card in the Facebook group if you want, raise your own vibration by declaring it. And also please book in a chat, free call with either Justine or myself, or again, if you book in with one or the other, we'll also see if we can make a connection so that we can match up our schedules and meet with you together. And and then you can, like Brenda said, she was going to watch it again because she had to break it up over 2 times. So if you want to go back to day 1, I mean, the replays are going to be in the Facebook group. Taylor, can you remind me how long they're going to be in there? Is it for a week? Oh, she's popped up. So I think it's about a week or so that those replays will still be available in the group. So take advantage of that, and feel free to, invite other people if you know someone else that it would.
I think there's a bit of a delay. I don't know if I'm hopping.
Sorry. Sorry, Taylor. I we're trying to remember how long. Oh, she's popped back off. 1 week. Okay. Yeah, I was right. Good. Okay. So yeah, so those will be available for a week. So share them with your friends, let them know that they're in there. Again, it's great value. It's really unique to have two coaches, presenting and coaching on a single program. It's pretty unique. And so you want to take advantage of this.
Yeah. One thing I'll say is Burnout to Balance doesn't start until the 27th, which is just a little bit over a week, maybe 10 days away. So that gives you lots of time, not only to think about it, watch the replays, get in touch with us for a call. And because you have attended this, like we said, there is the promo code to do $500 off. And what's most important to us is to have more conversations with you to really support your growth. So get in touch. And let's keep supporting each other.
And if it's strictly the investment that's holding you back, let us talk to you about that. We can talk also about a payment plan options, because if this is something that's on your heart that you really want to do, we want to make that happen with you and for you.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining and showing up for 3 days. This is awesome. And I have enjoyed every second of it. I've learned from coaching and being present. I've learned from Debbie, and I've learned from all of you from being here. So thank you for that contribution. And I'm just curious if there's any takeaways, thoughts that you're having, or questions. Now is your time. You've got some time with Debbie and I as coaches. So if you have any thoughts, questions, takeaways, jump in and share them now. Awesome. I see lots of love from Susie, which is great. So thanks for being here, Susie and Brenda, today, and for all of you watching on the replay, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Awesome.
Bye.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.